Hi, I'm Chris Munch, and this is House to Home. I'd like to say that I'm a builder, but then again, I'm a guy. I like to hammer. I like to tear stuff up. What else do I like to do? I like to work on cars. This morning I spent in the crawl space, and then I got in the attic. You know what? I like to do a lot of things. I'm an assistant professor at Fort Hays State University. That's my favorite job. But tearing up houses is probably my more favorite job. And I would like to say that I am the hostess with the mostest. But actually, I can't say that. Because one day I was crawling through a crawl space, and this young lady, Andrea Clinkscale, she comes following me in there in flip-flops and shorts. Now there's spiders down there.
Yep.
But Andrea followed me into this crawl space. I'm doing a home inspection, and the next thing I know, I turn around and I said, hey, I'm getting ready to do a show called House to Home. How would you like to be like in charge?
Yeah, right.
Co-host? No way.
No.
We're in this equal. I'll tell you what, that's one thing we've learned, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It's not me, you, it's us. We're doing this together. We're learning together.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's what's pretty cool about what we're doing.
Yeah.
As much as we would like to take a house and talk about the fun stuff first, huh? The kitchens, the
tearing
fancy
things
stuff,
apart.
yeah, tearing stuff up. What we got to talking about what ended up happening was a professor at the university told me one day, he said, well, you know, you can't start up here when they're down here. You got to start off like a coach. When you're coaching football, huh?
Yeah.
You start off with saying, this is a football. That way everybody starts at the same place. And so, kind of crazy enough, I think what we'll do is, I think that's where we'll start, huh? What do you think?
Start with a football. Hopefully ours is a little bigger than this next time.
No doubt. Yeah, that is exactly true. And believe it or not, kind of meant to be, that was laying here. So we had to start with a football today. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take you through the house. Foundation, footings, roofs, attics, crawl spaces, heating and air conditioning, electrical panels, where else we going? Kitchens?
Just about anything any average homeowner is going to run into.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to bring in professionals. Speaking of professionals, I think we've got one waiting for us at Fort Hays State University.
Yeah, we do.
And they've got this huge, cool model, and we can kind of step back and take a look at that thing from the bottom up, the foundation.
Get to see the parts of the house that you don't normally see because it's all enclosed with all the decorative stuff.
All covered up with pictures and fancy stuff that we'd like to talk about, the tile and all that pretty stuff.
Yep.
And someday we will. But for right now, I think we'll just head up there. What do you think?
Yep, let's start with our football.
That's it.
Faster than you can Google home equity loan, the Bank of Hays can have that line of credit at your fingertips. In less time than you'll spend calling an 800 number to get service from a chain bank, the Bank of Hays has already met any needs you might have. You see, at Bank of Hays, we bring you something in banking no one else can. The idea of here and now, meeting all your financing needs now because we're right here in Hays. From financing a car to a home, let us help you now.
Here, now, wow!
If you're ready to replace your bath or shower enclosure and want a professional installation, stop by Advantage Glass Plus in Hays. Select a standard or customized enclosure, framed or frameless, with hinged, pivoting, or sliding doors. Give your bath some personality and style with patterned glass available in many textures including obscured, clear, and rain. Let the glass experts from Advantage Glass Plus create your new bath enclosure. 1005 Vine in Hays. Find our ad in the Next Tech directory.
When it's summer in this part of Kansas, temps outside can hit 90 plus. But if the temperature inside your home or business isn't cool and comfy, you'll need this little tool right here. Just press the button 625-2115. That brings a Glassman technician right to your door to solve the problem, instantly and affordably. For air conditioning service, the only name to know is Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The choice is perfectly clear. Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Great design is in great details. Your design headquarters, the Furniture Look on the Bricks in downtown Hays.
Hey, I'm glad you joined us at Fort Hays State University. I'm here today with Andrea, you remember Andrea, and Eric Denoza, an assistant professor at the Institute of Applied Technology. And I get the privilege of working with this guy on a daily basis. How's it going, man?
Great, good, how are you?
Let's talk about houses.
Let's do it.
We talk about, when we headed over here, I talked about this is a football. If you're a coach, you start there, not here, not down there. So let's start talking about what's most important, I think, in a house, and that's the foundation.
Correct. Well, this model is a very cost-effective way to illustrate ground up of a house, starting with your design elements, such as your floor plan, which is going to determine what your foundation and footing is going to look like.
So this follows the perimeter of your home is what you're telling me, the foundation does.
Correct. We start here with the footing, which would be placed below our frost line. That's going to be at a different elevation depending on where you are in the region, state to state.
Why below the frost line?
Because this will allow for a stable footing below where your earth is expanding and contracting, which will keep your house very stable and structurally sound.
It's all about stability, would you agree? Yeah. It's all about keeping your house stable, keeps the cracks out.
You don't
of the
want
walls.
your house to move.
Right, and then we have a stem wall coming up. You know, house is all about systems, and that's one of the things I really want to, talk about. We have the foundation, then we come up to the floor system, the wall system, and the roof system. So, we go up our stem wall, and then setting on top of this is our floor system. What's a floor system?
The floor system can be made up of different types of lumber. You can use your typical dimensional lumber that you could go buy at the lumber yard, or you could go and purchase a pre-engineered beam, which would be a TGI floor joist. Once you've had your house designed and laid out, you'll be able to determine which direction your floor joists are running, and they set directly on top of your seal plate on top of your foundation wall.
Okay, so it just builds up. We go from our footing to our stem wall, and then we go to a floor system that sets on top of that. It's all about carrying that weight down to the earth so it's stable, so we don't have cracks in our plaster, those kinds of things. Crawl space, basement, there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. In a typical crawl space, the height of your foundation wall is only going to be that of which your footing is below the frost line. Now, when you're digging a basement, you're going to be below that frost line because you're looking for a height of 8 to 10 feet typically for a basement.
Gotcha, so that's all about height. And next, Andrea, what do you think of these walls?
Well, I think they're pretty good, but I think it's important to know which walls are going to support your roof, which is kind of the next part after the walls here.
Right, absolutely. And when you talk about a wall system, a lot of people have never looked beyond the sheetrock, and you strip all that sheetrock away, and this is what you've got. And you drive around town, you see houses being built, and you see the sticks all up in the air. You have your bottom plate, you have studs, you have a top plate and a double top plate. And that all kind of ties together. And there's a difference between an interior wall and an exterior wall?
Yeah, well, there can be. Sometimes you can have your exterior wall be thicker than your interior walls, so you may be using a 2x6 for an exterior wall, or you may have a brick facade on the front of your house, which is going to make your exterior wall thicker than the interior walls. Now, something to point out is the dimensional lumber sizes that you can go to the lumber store and buy. We call these 2x4s, and they're studs. We can get them in a variety of different lengths, but just because it says it's 2x4 doesn't really mean that it is. After the cutting and the drying process, we now have a 1.5 by 3.5.
Yeah, so it's always smaller, so you have to take that stuff into consideration.
Correct.
And then we talk about, headers over doors and windows. Headers are for
carrying the load of the opening where they're missing the stud.
Yeah, weight distribution and carrying everything down. It's all about top down. From the peak of the house, we're carrying and transferring all the weight down through the walls, through the floor system, through the sill, through the stem wall, into the footing, and it carries it into the earth. Well, we've got about a minute left. Roof systems. Talk fast, big boy.
Typically, you can get a variety of different roof systems, anywhere from a rafter roof system to a truss-built roof system that may be pre-engineered. You can see here that we have scissor trusses on this particular model, which would give us the cathedral vaulted ceiling, that effect in the inside of our house. And so there may be certain situations or areas within the house that we would do some stick framing to accommodate carrying some of the load below. And a lot of that is determined by the floor plan and where our load-bearing walls are.
Absolutely. So it's all about systems. roof system, wall system, floor system, footings, then it just takes it on down into the earth.
Correct.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to run out to Midwest Energy and say hi to Brian, and he's got another model that's very different than this one, but I think it's very important we see. Let's go.
Looking for a new career? Midwest Energy has great careers in electric and natural gas utilities throughout central and western Kansas. We offer competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a wide variety of field and administrative positions. Most positions require community or technical college, and internships are available. Learn more at mwenergy.com. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
Faster than you can Google home equity loan, the Bank of Hayes can have that line of credit at your fingertips in less time than you'll spend calling an 800 number to get service from a chain bank. The Bank of Hayes has already met any needs you might have. You see, at Bank of Hayes, we bring you something in banking no one else can. The idea of here and now, meeting all your financing needs now because we're right here in Hayes. From financing a car to a home, let us help you now.
Here, now, wow!
If you're ready to replace your bath or shower enclosure and want a professional installation, stop by Advantage Glass Plus in Hayes. Select a standard or customized enclosure, framed or frameless, with hinged, pivoting, or sliding doors. Give your bath some personality and style with patterned glass available in many textures including obscured, clear, and rain. Let the glass experts from Advantage Glass Plus create your new bath enclosure. 1005 Vine in Hayes. Find our ad in the Next Tech directory.
When it's summer in this part of Kansas, temps outside can hit 90 plus. But if the temperature inside your home or business isn't cool and comfy, you'll need this little tool right here. Just press the button 625-2115. That brings a Glassman technician right to your door to solve the problem, instantly and affordably. For air conditioning service, the only name to know is Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The choice is perfectly clear. Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Oh my goodness, Andrea. Down at the university talking about footings, foundations, and floor systems, and walls, and oh man.
Yeah.
And here we are at Midwest Energy. And we're with Brian Dreiling today from Midwest Energy. And I don't know where to start first. Do we start here? What do you do here, and what is this?
Well, Chris, I guess my title out here is Manager of Energy Services, and energy services basically means anything to do with energy and getting your houses and buildings running properly and safely and efficiently. So, and what we're standing in front of today is, we call this our pressure house. And because, you know, in the business of construction, there are a lot of different components. Well, when it comes to pressure, everything is related. So the house is a system.
No way, because we just got done talking about that down at the
really?
university.
Talking about
How
systems.
foundations tie in. You know, people think, well, a roof has nothing to do with the foundation, but it has everything to do with it. So,
It does. So from the structural side that you guys are dealing with to the energy side that we deal with, especially when it comes to pressures in a house, air moving in, air moving out, air moving from the furnace to the bedroom to the bathroom, all over the place, it has to do with pressures. And the more we know about it, the more we can diagnose problems, and the more we can make people comfortable. Yeah. And that's what our display is. And a little bit about the display, it's a 2-story house. It has a basement, a garage, upper floor, bedroom, bathroom, fireplaces that actually put off smoke and heat, and water heaters and stuff that'll show us how the drafting. Matter of fact, Chris, go ahead and turn on the...
oh, I like switches. I like switches.
Turn on the switches over there. Turn on the fireplace. Turn on the...
yeah, let's do this one here. I think that's the furnace fan.
Yeah, let's
turn on.
we can go ahead.
Fireplace.
Fireplace and the water heater. And we happen to have also a car in our garage. And if you turn on the car exhaust, Chris, just the 3 buttons there. He does like pushing buttons, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Not the right one.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Got it going the wrong way.
As we get all the buttons fired up and turned on, and the chimneys get the drafting with the fireplace and the water heater, and we also kind of see that our garage is starting to fill up full of exhaust. And because the house is under static pressure right now, meaning everything's good, normal, balanced, and we can tell that from our gauges, we're okay. But the minute we start doing things like turning on, say, the furnace kicks on. And as the furnace kicks on, it creates pressure differences.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
can
my
see the
goodness.
pressure differences on our gauge. We can see that the fireplace now is bringing in smoke inside the house. And same thing with the
So it's
With
all
the water
it makes absolute sense when we come from the university looking at it as a structure, and then you look at this and how this is all tied together. I mean, it's really important that you look at the whole house. I mean, as a system instead of, well, this is separate from this and this is separate.
And even areas where you wouldn't think, for instance, like the garage here, it's getting pretty smoky in this garage because we have some contaminants in there from the car.
Yeah.
And if somebody would accidentally open up the door from the house to the garage and go in and out, and the house is under a negative pressure because we see that, we can see how quickly the smoke comes inside.
Rolling right in.
And during construction, if they don't do something quite right and they leave a hole someplace they shouldn't leave it comes into the returns. And all the contaminants that you think is outside of your house now gets inside the house.
Yeah.
So the carbon monoxide and all those other issues don't always have to come from the furnace like people think it does. It can come from outside the house. It could come from a grill that's sitting underneath a patio deck, and there's a vacuum right there pulling it in. So we have to be real careful with that. Go ahead and shut the blower off a little bit. And are we still getting some smoke?
We are still getting some smoke. I'll tell you what, we could probably talk about this we could spend 3 episodes on just this, couldn't we? I mean, how it all ties together. We have about 45 seconds to wrap up, and one of the things we've been stressing in this episode is the fact that people don't think about how things tie together. I mean, you think that everything's separate. Well, if I have a problem with this, it's that, or another thing. But this really does set the tone to show, doesn't it, Andrea?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That everything does tie together, and people think, well, my car and my garage, it's separate. It's really not, is it?
It's really not. It's part of the house. Ideally, it should be separate, but there are interconnections all over. What this really tells us is that anytime you make a change inside the house, whether it's a car, whether it's a new bathroom exhaust fan, a new kitchen exhaust fan, a new dryer, a new water heater, a new furnace, or you're opening and closing vents just to keep one room warmer or colder than another, it affects everything in the house.
Yes, it
and
does.
it could be a safety situation.
Absolutely. Too. I can tell you this right now. We're going to come back out and see you some more because I see where this is going to play an important role, and your experience is going to play an important role. When we come back, we'll wrap up and review everything we've talked about today.
Great design is in great details. Your design headquarters, the Furniture Look on the Bricks in downtown Hays.
Midwest Energy is a cooperative, meaning that our electric and natural gas customers are also our owners. Serving nearly 92,000 customers in 41 counties in central and western Kansas, Midwest Energy's employees are proud to bring you safe, reliable, and affordable energy services. Learn more at mwenergy.com. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative, making energy work for you.
Faster than you can Google home equity loan, the Bank of Hays can have that line of credit at your fingertips. In less time than you'll spend calling an 800 number to get service from a chain bank, the Bank of Hays has already met any needs you might have. You see, at Bank of Hays, we bring you something in banking no one else can. The idea of here and now, meeting all your financing needs now because we're right here in Hays. From financing a car to a home, let us help you now.
Here, now, wow!
If you're ready to replace your bath or shower enclosure and want a professional installation, stop by Advantage Glass Plus in Hays. Select a standard or customized enclosure, framed or frameless, with hinged, pivoting, or sliding doors. Give your bath some personality and style with patterned glass available in many textures including obscured, clear, and rain. Let the glass experts from Advantage Glass Plus create your new bath enclosure. 1005 Vine in Hays. Find our ad in the Next Tech directory.
Hey, we got people here.
I'm sorry. I tell you what, I get this kind of stuff in my hands, I get lost.
There's a lot to take in.
Oh my goodness. When you look at pressures and how this stuff works, and we look at this stuff here, and I'm still trying to wrap my brain around all of this yet. This is complicated stuff right
This
here.
is the stuff you don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, we're so used to just, we walk into a house and we look at the carpet and we look at the wallpaper, or hopefully no wallpaper nowadays,
let's hope not.
or kitchens, those kinds of things. And it is overwhelming when you start thinking about all these different systems that bring a house together. Yeah. It's overwhelming, I think is a good place to start.
For sure.
Yeah. I can see why a football coach, when he brings a football team together, because he'd love to do all the big plays and the motions, but he's got to start off with, this is a football, and to bring everybody so they're all working from the same foundation.
They start from the same level, yeah.
And speaking of foundations, we were met up at Fort Hays State University with Eric, and Eric talked about, when we go back to that house model up there, the footing and the foundation, and how we went to the floor system, and we have the walls and 2x4s and headers, and what's an exterior wall, what's an interior, what's a load bearing, what's a non-load bearing.
And then this fits inside of all of that.
It does, and that's what's cool. This literally then brings together water heaters and fireplaces. And did you ever think about opening and closing doors in a house makes a difference?
Yeah, I had no idea.
And if your dryer is sitting in your, what do you call it? The heat zone? No, what did you call it, Brian? The combustion zone. See, we are very informal here. The combustion zone. When you think about, you don't think about putting a dryer in a combustion zone and thinking, well, I turned it on, it's no big deal.
Right.
When in reality, that baby could be downdrafting your water heater, pumping carbon monoxide all throughout your. Did you think about that?
No, I never had an idea.
I know, and so thank goodness we came out and talked to Brian out at Midwest Energy. And by the way, Brian he won't bring this model out to you. Right. It would be cool if he brought this model out. Set that up in the living room, let the kids play with it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if you have questions about your own home, call Midwest Energy, have them come out and take a look at your house.
Oh, absolutely, and do a blower door test on the house and check efficiency. I mean, that's why they're here. I mean, that's why we're here. They're the professionals. We just kind of stumble around and we get to learn, and that's what's cool. Yeah. I've been doing this a lot of years, and I'm going to learn a lot of things as well.
Yep. So I'm just jumping in, and I've learned a lot already.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It is very cool. And I think what's going to be fun as we go through this, we've talked about the house as a system, kind of as the skeleton. We've talked about this and how this all comes together. It's going to lead us into the next episode, and we'll talk specifically about furnaces. We thought about furnaces and air conditioning, but we're just going to talk about furnaces only, because there's a lot of different types of heating systems in houses. So it's a perfect time of year to be doing that. So that's going to be our next episode. And questions. If people have questions, what do we do?
Hey, if you have any questions for us, you can email us at h2h.eaglecom.net.
Well, and it's on Hays Post?
It is on Hays Post as well. You can send questions there, and
Absolutely.
You'll see our episodes there as well.
So we got to thank Eric at Fort Hays State University. Yeah. We got to thank Brian at Midwest Energy. We got to thank Andrea. We got to thank what's that guy behind the camera? What's his name? Jeff Durall.
I suppose.
We do. And I'm Chris Munch. This is House to Home. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Andrea. All right.
When it's summer in this part of Kansas, temps outside can hit 90 plus. But if the temperature inside your home or business isn't cool and comfy, you'll need this little tool right here. Just press the button 625-2115. That brings a Glassman technician right to your door to solve the problem, instantly and affordably. For air conditioning service, the only name to know is Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The choice is perfectly clear. Glassman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Great design is in great details. Your design headquarters, the Furniture Look on the Bricks in downtown Hays.
Each year, about 400 electrocutions occur in the United States. You can avoid shock by knowing one basic premise. Electricity always seeks the easiest path to the ground, and you are a perfect conductor. Stay 20 feet from damaged power lines. And if down wires touch your car, don't get out, stay inside and call for help. And don't let others touch the car until it's safe. Electrical safety tips from Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
Faster than you can Google home equity loan, the Bank of Hayes can have that line of credit at your fingertips. In less time than you'll spend calling an 800 number to get service from a chain bank, the Bank of Hayes has already met any needs you might have. You see, at Bank of Hayes, we bring you something in banking no one else can. The idea of here and now, meeting all your financing needs now because we're right here in Hayes. From financing a car to a home, let us help you now.
Here, now, wow!
You know, while we've been working this week and talking, if there's one thing I've been thinking about, one of the things I talk about a lot is foundation, 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 foundation. I'm a builder, so that's how I look at things. Realtors look at it as location, 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 location. And one of the things that I've always thought about, you know, as I work on houses, if my walls could talk. And I've learned, being a guy in a society that doesn't necessarily let guys talk or show their emotions, I've kind of gone against the grain on that. And what that's starting to teach me is it's really getting me grounded with my foundation of who I am and who I want to be. And you know, kind of this, I'm 50 years old, I'm still trying to figure out like what direction I want to go. I've had some tough experiences in my life, and everybody goes through tough experiences, but these experiences were my experiences. You know, my son's dead, my son Blake, he died, be 10 years ago next year, or next Christmas. And I remember waking up the morning after his death thinking, oh my God, you know, nothing's gonna be the same anymore. And little did I know how broken my foundation would become, or I guess maybe how broken I would realize it would become. And as I work on houses, I start to see how we talked about how, you know, a house is a system, foundations and floors and walls, and how Brian showed us how all these things go together inside, and air movement, and how we are really the same. We are really no different. You know, our hearts are connected to our minds, and our mind is telling us to do one thing, but our heart is telling us to do another. Heck, it's taken me 2 years just to get the courage to post on Facebook what I really feel, not what I want people to think I feel. And you know, you post what you really feel, and right away people say, oh, I'm sorry. You don't have to be sorry. That's just how I feel. And if I keep that inside, how am I going to really learn from myself? The best teacher I can have is me. And that's taken a long time to really believe. And I don't know that I still really believe it, but I follow it because my gut tells me to. Foundation, foundation, foundation. You know, we're built around all these experiences of where we've come from. And these experiences, whether it's death or divorce or, you know, breakup or failing a test at school. I remember a young lady coming into my classroom once, and she was devastated, and she was crying. I'm like, calm down, what's going on? She goes, I failed my algebra test. I'm like, oh, stop that, it's just a test. And then I watched her reaction to that, and that was exactly what people were doing to me when I was trying to put out there how I felt. They tried to shut me down. And I went beyond it. I stopped. I just said, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. I just don't care what people say anymore. I got to be me. I can't try to be somebody else. And I remember that young lady, when I stopped trying to shut her down, I listened. I said, Josh, tell me what's going on. She told me she had never failed a test before in her life. She was a straight A student. And that rocked her world. You know, it's part of who she is now. But I think she'll look back on it. Matter of fact, I know she looks back on it. She's told me she looked back on that experience. It's pretty amazing how we live and how we share and how we open up our lives. And if my walls could talk, and I want to tell you something, my walls will talk. Thank you for joining us on House to Home. What happens inside the walls is what makes a house a home.